Hey, hey, hey. What is going on, Ghost fam? Hope you're doing well today. Hope you're getting everything that you set out to get. Ready as always for a great night of story time. Appreciate you, Uncle Brangus. Claire C., how's it going? Lost Hero Games, good to see you. Matt, hope I can help you escape everything tonight. Raphilosophy, how's it going? This is 5150, it's always good to see you. How is everybody doing tonight? JB's Pokestop in the chat. How are you, bud? Hope you're doing well. Got 7 likes already. 8 of you here. Leighton, Layla, Brad, and Nana Katrina. I hope you are doing well. It is always good to see you. I feel like I'm looking down a little bit. There we go. That helps a bit. It's good to see you too, brother. Good to see you too. I'm gonna rock a 4x4. And I have a achievement, confession, surprise that happened to me today concerning the 5x5. As I decided, Uncle Ghosty, Mom's letting me use the tablet and watch and listen to you while she's on Holo. Excellent. Well, it's good to see you, Una. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, and that is, I was messing around with it. I was like, all right, let me take a look because it was really weird. The 5x5 naturally is always going to have a centerpiece in the middle. And like, I noticed this today and I was like, well, if there's always a cemented centerpiece, then you always know where the colors go. Technically, you should never have the parity at the end that you get with the 4x4. So I was doing a couple of little things, moving it around, and then I accidentally scrambled it. So I decided to give it the full scramble, and I just worked at it, and I solved the 5x5 today. First time. I scrambled it, I solved it using the same techniques as this here. It just takes forever. What's up, Alec? It's good to see you. Good to see you all. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a solve, and then we'll get started and finish the end of the book. I think this is going to be the end of the book. So I'm really excited. I'm kind of anxious. I'm a little sad because, I kind of don't want to stop reading the book. But I was very curious to know what you all would like to get into next because I know that we can always go back to Oz. But I was curious, has anybody heard of John Carter from Mars? Broke it or something? No, I almost did, though. I almost did. Read it again. I could do that. I could do that. But yes, it was just a very, very, very cool book. I really, really enjoyed it. Sorry, I'll be sure to hold it up here. Red. Just put that there. Orange and green. Orange and green. So yeah, that was kind of a nice little accomplishment. What's up, Darker Bunnies? Seeing the movie, would love to hear the book. Books are much, much better. By Edgar Rice Burroughs. So I got all the books for John Carter. It was very, very cheap. And so I figured we could do that. We could get into John Carter from Mars. And for those that don't know, please don't base what you know about the movie on what we're about to read. But I just want to get into more fantasy and out of this world stuff, to Matt's earlier point, just to escape the world as we know it and take a second to fantasize about stuff for a minute. So I figured that would be a pretty good idea. Plus they're in public record, which really helps a lot. Darker Bunnies, it is really good to see you, fam. How are you doing today? So, yes, I do have to break the news to catch 'em all, Kev. I will say that the 5 by 5 I really didn't enjoy solving because that cube was very, very, best way I know how to put it is sticky. Like I almost popped the tiles off trying to just make one little simple turn. So I might have to give it the treatment and lube it up a little bit. But I'm thinking about already getting a 5 by 5 speed cube like this one so that I can practice a little bit quicker on it. And I'm by no means a master. I was just able to solve it on my first try. So it was a nice little accomplishment knowing that I can solve cubes without just memorizing algorithms. So put that back. Wow, no shot. I just paired up two just like that. All right. Do this one. Well rested. How are you, sir? How was your day? It was long. It was boring a little bit. Um, but essentially it was okay. Nothing too out of the norm for a Monday. I was really looking forward to doing this tonight. And finishing up the book, seeing all of you, of course. Stopped off in the Hollow Hunters. I don't know. Has anybody ever ripped any Japanese Matchless Fighter or Peerless Fighter? It's the set that has the Alt-Art Blaziken in it. I believe it's Chilling Rain is part of the set. But I decided to try my luck and get some of those over at the Hollow Hunters. They were pretty cheap, and I ended up pulling the SR Blaziken. That happened like 10 minutes ago. So not the Blaziken, but the SR Blaziken. So that was pretty nice. Sean Bowden, how are you doing tonight, sir? Hope you're doing well. It is always a pleasure to see you. All right, cool. Now we go. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah. That. Covered. Doing all right. Working on my next video for the other channel, so it might be temporary jump off soon to record it. How are you doing? Well, excellent. I'm very proud of you, man. Let me know, of course, if there's anything that you need. I'm doing all right. I will say it was a longer day, but I'm just really looking forward to sitting down and reading the story with y'all. Come on, no parody, no parody, no parody. Yes. Okay. Hmm. No parodies. Interesting. Well, I don't use the word lucky too often, but lucky. Hey, what's up, Alice? Hello. How you doing, boo? I just won a crazy knockdown on the end of stream giveaway. No, no shot. Who's end of stream? Was it the was it the Nana? The Nana owl? The one that I have on stream? That knocked owl? I don't know what command you were trying to type. Oh, rips. Okay. That's, that's okay. That's okay. And that gave me that gave me a nice little laugh. I think I'm more relieved that nothing popped up. Oh, look at that. That took us right to our 10-minute mark. So I'm going to work on getting faster at this. And at the same time, I might get a 4x4 mirror cube to see if I can get really good at that. And then the 5x5 speed cube also. And now I'm going to have to get a locker for all of my cubes. They're starting to pile up a little bit, so I might have to get a case or something. My cheeks hurt. Mine too. Mine too. That was funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny right there. All right. Well, by my math, I think that we read chapter 21. We would have had 6 chapters left. That would have put us 24. We read chapter 25 though, because it was short. No, thank you. That's right. The last thing the kids were doing, they're all flying overhead, and they saw Dag walking around, and they flew down, and Charisma took her ring back from Dag's finger. They asked her how she did it, and she just smiled and said, "Magic." But that's where they are now. They just got a ring back, which makes Charisma once again the highest power in all the land of Perona. So, thank you all for being here. Got 10 of the ghosty readers in the chat. I appreciate you all going on this journey with me through Mama Ghost's adventure. I really, really enjoyed it, and I am going to put a lot of thought in seeing how this book ends, if I want to continue it, or if I want to go back and break this into multiple books. Like, I feel like it deserves to just have that very epic feeling that I know she was going for. I wish I could have helped her with it. And I will just say out loud for everybody that I'm missing her a lot today. Excellent. Appreciate you, New Zealand fam, and I love you all for being here. Let's finish the journey of Unspoken Secrets. Chapter 26. Rain looked over at her friends as they flew over the land of Penora, and and then she heard the deep voice of Valtron shatter the peace. "Ladies, I am coming to your good land, and once I arrive, I'll steal your magic, because I can. Then I shall find Fiery and do the same thing to her. Then, well, you know what comes next, don't you, Rain?" His laughter shook the land of Penora. "You think you're powerful enough to challenge all of us?" Rain shouted. "I hope you still have that confidence once you arrive here. I know that charisma is gaining in strength, and how will you fight all of us?" "Oh, but as charisma is gaining in strength, so am I. Did you forget who I am?" Valtron's voice was bitter, and as it spilled over the land, each woman tasted the pepper in their mouth from the air. "Think what you will. If you make this personal, Valtron, I shall combat you to the end," Rain snapped. When Valtron laughed again, all of them noticed the pungent odor. "I'm closer than you think, Rain, and more powerful than you'll ever know, and once I arrive, I'll take Charisma, bring her to the land of Elvi, and she'll forever reign the lands with me." "Huh, if you believe that, then you're sadly mistaken. My Charisma has more strength in the strand of hair than all the magic combined." "We shall see, won't we?" His dark laughter rang over the land of Penora again. "Then, till then, Rain, watch your land. You just never know who's going to breach the border." When Rain hesitated, the land of Penora grew eerily silent, and all of them knew he had left. Where do you think he went? Windy asked. I think he's gone to find Charisma. Rain's eyes were filled with sadness. No, none of that, Tornado scolded. We must stay strong and determined for Charisma and the rest of our children. Remember, they're all together. And when Beltron tries to take Charisma, none of the children will let that happen without a fight, especially Boulder. Yeah, you're right. All the children will band together to form a front. Hopefully it'll be strong enough to hold Valtron, Volcano said. It won't be. They're missing too many links, Wings answered. What links? Sparkle asked. They're separated from Retala, Camilla, Zuela, Petrello, Wings answered. But how do you know? Rain choked on the question. Because I can see them vaguely. What? Why didn't you tell us? Rain demanded. Because the visions just popped into my head, but unfortunately I'm not strong enough to show it to the rest of you. So where are the children? Rain asked quickly. In the land of Walby still, Wings answered. And what are they doing? Wings smiled. They're flying over the land. All the children have their arms locked because they're holding the jewels from Earth. They're what? Rain asked incredulously. They're holding the jewels Charisma and Boulder brought here from Earth, and they're smart enough to know that to form a strong alliance, they must be intertwined with each other. So they've linked arms. A soft, proud smile touched each of the woman's lips. Do you think they'll be strong enough? Volcano asked. It's hard to say. Valtron is the strongest of the lands right now. Rain said. No, Grandmother Culver is, Tornado answered. That's true, but she's not allowed to intervene, Rain reminded them. If she was, Valtron wouldn't even be here. Yeah, that's also true, Volcano sighed. Listen, can you see Petrello? They asked Wings. Not yet. The only things I see are the 6 children, and even that, if it's full of static. Could you try to focus on him, please? I just want to make sure he's okay, Sparkle pleaded. I'll try, Wings told her, and they all noticed the serious expression come over her face. Do you see him yet? Sparkle was impatient. Not yet. Let's give it a moment, shall we? Windy said. As the women continued to fly, they were all paying such close attention to Wings that none of them saw the trap that Valtron had set. Grandmother Culver watched the children sailing over the kingdom of Walby and knew what they were going to do. She stomped on the clouds, clearly irritated, and wished she had stopped them before they did what they had planned on doing. As she turned her eyes to the golden door, she silently called on her great-grandmother Culver for answers, as she had been doing since the whole mess started. But unfortunately, the golden door remained closed. If you could give me a moment of your time, great-grandmother Culver, I would be so thankful to you. When the gentle breeze lifted Grandmother Culver's hair, she smiled and watched as the door opened. Her great-grandmother, Thelma Culver, walked over to join her on the fluffy white cloud, and Grandmother Culver felt peaceful in her presence. My child, Thelma Culver whispered, trouble is brewing in the lands. This is but a turbulent time with lots of peril. The children you seek help for are beyond both of us. They're the future of Penora. They must figure this out without our help. Unfortunately, the children aren't educated quickly enough before their many captures. Now, I can't help any of you until the children learn the truth of their heritage. You know the rules and law governing the lands of Penora, and I shall not break them. Grandmother Culver looked at her. A Charisma is asking me for help, but I know I can't help her. That's correct, Thelma Culver smiled at her. But I must. I'm afraid of what will happen if Valtron is allowed to capture her. But we mustn't change what is meant to be. To alter the future shall destroy the past. You know that. Thelma Culver placed her hand on Grandmother Culver's head. Now, I bring you peace, my child, to let what may come happen. It is truly out of our power realm that Charisma is not familiar with their chain of command. If I so much as lift a finger to help her, the higher powers of the land of Penora will come down and rain fury upon us all. We must trust the children are smart enough and wise enough to do what's right. But they aren't. They're stubborn as their mothers were. Great-grandmother Thelma Culver smiled. We've all been stubborn. It's part of our heritage and who we are. Never underestimate the power of children. They're smarter than we give them credit for, than more powerful than we think. Take a moment to look at the world through the eyes of the children, and you'll find the answers there. Yes, I know this to be true. But what if they accidentally slip through the portal? Grandmother Culver twisted her fragile old hands nervously. Much like you did? Yes. Then they shall learn even more about the world they're from. Now I must go. The elderly powers are calling me back. Great-grandmother Thelma smiled peacefully at Grandmother Culver. Worry never changes the outcome. It only makes you worry more. Trust in the children to make the right choices, and that's all we can do. Great-grandmother Thelma walked through the open golden door as Grandmother Culver watched, and soon she was gone. As she turned her saddened eyes back towards the children flying over the land of Walby, Grandmother Culver felt the vibration flow quickly through her body and knew what the children were planning to do. Then she turned her eyes away from them and screamed through the clouds in agitation because she couldn't help. Now, does everyone understand what we're going to do? Charisma asked her friends. When she saw them nod, they closed their eyes, and soon they felt like they were falling. They've left. Valtron stopped his horse abruptly, then swung around to glare at his people. Well, what do you mean they've left? Remetry, the dinosaur. Oh, what do you mean they've left? Remetry, the dinosaur asked. Just as I said. Valtron was upset. But where did they go? Tresknot, the fly, asked. I'm uncertain, Valtron said, staring at nothing. Well, you're the powerful one. You should know where they went. Zealot, the pixie angel, said, flying crazily in front of his face. I know that, but there's been some sort of spell cast, and now Charisma's whereabouts are no longer clear. That's a shame, Quiznot, his spy, told Valtron seriously. Then Valtron smiled. I've got the perfect solution to remedy this problem. He looked at his people. If I can't have Charisma, then the next best thing are her mother, Rain, and her queen, Fiery. Now let's ride, Valtron demanded, and once again the horses flew over the land. As Dag reached for the ring, he stopped, turned, and glared at Flipple and Crumby. Where is my ring? Dag growled at two of them. What ring? Crumby asked. Don't play stupid with me, you know what I'm talking about, Dag growled. No, really, I don't. What ring? Crumby asked again. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about either, Flipple said to Dag. Both of you know what I'm talking about. The ring I took from Charisma is gone. Crumby laughed. She must have stolen it back when you weren't looking. That's not funny, Dag snapped his jaws towards Crumby. Yes, it is. Crumby held his stomach and laughed harder. It's hilarious if you think about it here. A human tree sneaks up on you, steals your own ring back from you, a dinosaur of all things, and now you want us to tell you where the ring is? Obviously, she snuck in here with her pearly snow-white teeth and leafy feet and stole her ring back. It's not funny, and if you don't stop laughing, I'm going to swat you so hard you're never going to stop spinning. Dag roared again. Look, Dag's right, Crumby. It's not funny that Charisma took her ring back. It was probably powerful and laced with magic, which would only help strengthen her side of the land. Now, if she took it back, the land of Panora will win the Great War. So what? Crumby snapped at him. I don't care who wins, as long as I survive, and I will. Flies have a way of surviving anything. I wouldn't be so sure about that, Crumby, Flipple said. Besides, we've got other things to talk about, like the wind that blew us around earlier. What about it? Crumby asked, bored. Well, if I tell you. If Valtron is the one responsible for the wind, then we're all in trouble. And I'm not just referring to the kingdom of Walby, but the land of Panora and Venduza as well. How do you figure? Crumby wanted to know. After all, the kingdom of Walby is a land of the dark magic, just like the land of Elvie is. That's true, but Valtron isn't nice. He doesn't care whom he has to destroy to get what he wants. He'll do it. And if that means to destroy us in the process, then so be it. I don't believe you. You mean to tell me this Valtron will end our world because he doesn't want to share the power with another dark magic? That's exactly what I'm saying. I should know. I was raised in Bandusa. I know the rules and laws of the people well enough to know how it all works. Flipple was serious. So what? So what? I don't think you know everything, especially when it comes to things like this. Now, I think the three of us should find Watessa and ask her what's going on. If we could find Watessa, don't you think we would have already? Dag asked, annoyed. I don't know. You're pretty stupid for a dinosaur. Grumby laughed. Dag was annoyed. You're irritating. Yeah, well, at least I'm not a huge, ugly beast like you, Crumby said. Listen, both of you stop. Now let's talk about what we're going to do. We can't seem to find our queen, and that makes me think something happened to her when Valtron cast a wind spell upon the land. Flipple sounded alarmed. So what? Maybe he did take her. Now at least all of our people in the kingdom of Walby will decide who rules the land. Personally, I think it should be me. Crumby puffed out his chest. I'd never vote for you, Fly. Dag growled again. So what? Everybody else would. When the three of them heard a clap of thunder, they stopped talking and lifted their eyes towards the sky. What was that? Dag asked. It was the meeting of the two lands, Flipple answered. Well, how do you know? Because thunder only rumbles that loud when war in the clouds is about to start. Yeah, right. Crumby laughed until he heard the clap of ringing loudly over the kingdom of Walby again. Come on, we need somewhere safe to hide, Flipple urged, as he led the other two down the path and led to the woods. What a way to start. What's up, Charlie? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. 14 likes on the stream. 10 of you here as we read these last, now 4 chapters. Only 4 chapters left. And a war is coming. Unless you took a very Frank Baum approach and like everything is going to fix itself in the end. But we shall see. Chapter 27. Rain realized too late they were trapped. All her friends looked at her helplessly. What are we going to do now? You know it's only a matter of time before Valtron gets here, Volcano said. Yeah, we know, Wendy answered. I can't believe Valtron did this to us. Tornado was furious. I can, and I should have expected it, said Rain. How could you? It's not like you knew he was going to do. We thought for sure he was going after Charisma, Sparkle whispered. As Rain stared through the glass on the square box they were trapped in, she was amazed that they continued to float. You all know that he was going after Charisma, but apparently something went wrong in his plan. Yeah, I should say so, Volcano laughed. The kids obviously made something go wrong in Valtron's plan. Yeah, Rain sighed, then looked at her friends. Any spells we cast will bounce off the glass and backfire on us. Rain shook her head, and she stared at the land of Panora. Wish Grandmother Culver or Fiery would intervene. I'm sure they would have been I'm sure they know we've been captured. Do you think Charisma knows? Wings asked respectfully. I doubt it. She's still but a child, or young in her magic. Yeah, but she keeps shocking us all the time with things she does, Wendy volunteered, trying to cheer up Rain. Yes, but even this is too much for her, I imagine. Rain looked at her friends and tried to smile. Sparkle looked at Wings. Have you been able to pick up anything on Petrello? No, I'm sorry, everything is static. Wings looked at her with compassion. It's okay, it's not your fault. Anyways, I'm up for suggestions, so does anyone have any? Sparkle asked all of them. None. Fresh out? Wings shrugged. Me too, Volcano added. Well, let's not give up, Hurricane said. Okay, so what should we do? Well, for one, let's not forget who we are. For two, let's use the time we have to create a plan that will get us out of here, Hurricane offered. Okay, Rain agreed. Let's form a circle. Fiery stopped at the good people of Panora and then looked at each of them sadly. I carry news that rain, windy, volcano, hurricane, tornado, wings, and sparkle have been captured by Valtron. That's unheard of, Zambler yelled. Where are they? The news speaks that they're still in the land of Fenora, towards the clouds, Fiery said. Oh, let's go get them, Tompkins shouted. We can't. The news I'm receiving speaks of a glass square so thick any magic cast upon it shall indeed backfire. That's ridiculous. It's time for a meeting. Zambo looked at everyone. I agree, Flam blurted. Me too, Winnie said. I haven't time, Fiery said. The news is that Valtron will be here in the land of Penora soon. Her words hung in the air with finality. We can't give up. What are you suggesting? Zambler stared at her. I'm suggesting, my good people, in the land of Penora, that you all leave me here. Go find a hiding place and wait until he's finished. No way, I'm not leaving you, Zambo said. Me neither. Zambler walked over to stand beside her. Well, I'm certainly not leaving my queen. How could you even suggest such a thing? Tompkins jumped up and down. Yeah, I agree. It's just not the correct thing to do. Yes, it is, because my friend Valtron wants me and Rain. When he arrives, any resistance will be met with force. I don't care. If that's how it's going to be, then he shall fight against all of us, Zambler shouted, and Fiery knew he meant what he said. I'm sorry, I can't let you do that. When she raised her hand, she was too quick for the good people of Penora, and soon they all vanished, leaving Fiery standing alone. Camille, Redela, Petrello, Zuela all stared into the clear tree bark floating in front of them. To them, the floating bark reminded them of a giant transparent hollow log encased in glass. Inside the log, floating in front of them, they watched rain, windy, volcano, tornado, hurricane, wings, and sparkle. They've been captured. Valtron's on his way to get them, Camille said. As they continued to stare, a leaf appeared next to the tree bark. The leaf was bluish in color, and trapped inside the leaf was Fiery, wrapped in the windstorm of some sort. He's going to take them all, Zoella asked, shocked. It appears that way, Camille whispered. But we must do something. Petrello was clearly upset. I think we should, but what? We're not strong enough to stand up to Valtron, Camille said. So what? We don't even try? Petrello asked. I never said that. Yeah, she's only trying to think of the whole thing through. I don't know what you're going to do now. Fiery's our queen, and Rain is the mother of charisma, Redela added. Oh my goodness, Redela, that's it. I'll bet Valtron can't catch charisma, and that's why he's going after them, Camille said. I think you're right. But we don't know that for sure, Petrello stated. Yes, we do. If charisma was captured, we'd see 3 pieces of nature, and we've only seen 2. You sure about that? Petrello asked. Positive. It's one of the ways we can check on one another, and you know that, Zoella said. True. But what if he's blocked charisma from showing herself? It's been known to happen. All of them stared at Petrello for a moment, and then Camille shook her head. It's not possible. Charisma could still let us know something. Her powers are greater than Valtron's, and if he's captured her, she would let us know. Camille sounded convinced. Well, if he doesn't have her and the other 5, then where are they? Petrello demanded. We don't know, Camille answered. But at least Valtron hasn't captured them. Now come on, let's see if we can find them. Good idea, Petrello said through clenched teeth. What is it now? Camille asked him. I just keep thinking, had we involved all of them the first time, they'd all be here with us right now. Nonsense, you don't know that any more than we do, Camille scolded him. Yes, I do. And even if they weren't right here, at least they'd have been invited when the 4 of us talked. We would have seen it happen. Now, here we are, clueless. You need to focus, Petrello. We all know how important all of them are, and there's no sense in crying over fallen leaves because it's getting us absolutely nowhere. Camille smiled. Yeah. So, you've said more than once. Petrello's voice was snippy. So pixie angels and fairy, what's the plan? Come, Petrello, we shall tell you. Camille looked briefly at him, nodded at Redela and Zoella, and they all took flight. As Fiery waited for Valtron, she knew she had made the correct decision when she had made the good people of Penora disappear. Then she let Rain and all the others know that she had been captured. Now, at least, she knew Valtron would never find the good people of Panora. Rain and her friends, yes, he had already trapped them because they had been separated from Fiery when it all happened. The same could be true for Camilla, Redela, Zuela, and Petrello. If all of them had been with her when she cast her final spell, she would have nothing to worry about, but unfortunately none of them were, and now they were on their own. The spell of invisibility and protection that she had cast over the good people in Panora had weakened her, though, and now she knew there was nothing left to do but wait for the Dark King of Elvi to arrive. Watessa couldn't believe she had been trapped for so long. It had taken forever for her to finally get free. As she stared at the tree, which somehow had tangled around her, she suddenly shifted her purple eye towards the sky and knew it was only a matter of time before Valtron arrived. When she heard the clap of thunder, it made her jump, but she knew what it meant. There was only one thing that could make the thunder roll deeply. It meant war in the clouds was starting. Now, Watessa knew the outcome wouldn't be good. If a war was brewing between the high powers of the world, she knew she was insignificant against it. As the thunder rolled again, Watessa started walking towards her dwelling. When Charisma landed, she shook her head, looked around, and saw a leaf dancing in front of her, along with tree bark, which reminded her of a hollow log. In the see-through tree bark, she saw her mother, Windy, Hurricane, Volcano, Wings, Tornado, and Sparkle, trapped in the thick glass box, which was floating in the air. In the bluish leaf, she saw Fiery trapped in a vicious windstorm. Her blonde hair was flying all around her helpless face, and Charisma saw the tears which soaked Fiery's cheeks. The message she received was Valtron had captured them. She abruptly looked at her friends with misery in her eyes. "Do you see all of them?" Charisma asked, not sure what she was feeling. A part of her felt helpless against it, what she was seeing, and another part felt guilty and fury. "Yeah, we see them," Boulder sighed. "Yeah. Now what do we do?" Dagger asked, shrugging his shoulders. "What I want to know is where we are," Raven blurted. "Yeah, I want to know the same thing," Sunburst agreed. As the six of them looked around, they realized they were back in the abandoned building, and Boulder was the first one to speak. "No way. How did we end up back here?" "Where?" Sunburst asked. "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Now what are we going to do?" Charisma asked hysterically. "Where are we?" Raven wanted to know as she looked around. "Yeah, what is this place?" Mountain asked, and he looked around the building. "I'll tell you where we are," Boulder offered. "We're in the abandoned warehouse in Plymouth that started this whole mess." You mean we're back on Earth?" Dagger was shocked. "I think so," Boulder nodded. "But how's that possible?" Charisma asked, walking towards the door. As Boulder followed, he pushed the door back, and all of them realized they had been teleported back to Earth somehow. When Charisma turned around, she ran over back to the leaf, which was still floating along with the tree bark, and she rubbed the green jewel she had in her hand and asked her mother and Fiery to help her return to the land of Panora. When nothing happened, she looked at her friends and then walked over to the corner where she and Boulder had originally found the treasure chest. She saw it nestled, as it had been, when they first found it under the floorboards. "Help me unbury the treasure." She sounded so rushed as she began throwing the wood off of it. "What are we going to do?" Sunburst asked. "Did you see our mothers? They're trapped by Valtron. And here we are, safe and sound back on Earth." "I don't think so. Somehow we got to figure out the way to return." "I know," Charisma said. "But how are we going to do that? If the portals are closed, we'll never make it back," Mountain said. "First, let's get the treasure unburied," Charisma told them, still tossing wood off the chest. "Then we'll see what we can come up with. Maybe there's another jewel that will help teleport us back to the land of Panora." "And if there isn't?" Dagger asked softly. "Then I'd say everyone back there in the world is in trouble. Especially if I'm one of the highest powers in the land." Charisma looked sternly at them. "Now help me." As the six of them uncovered the chest, Charisma looked at Boulder, and then he lifted the lid, and all of them stepped back. "Where did the jewels go?" Charisma asked frantically. I don't know," Boulder answered. "Maybe someone else found out about them and took them?" No, that's not what I want to hear." Charisma shook her head and stared into the chest before she knelt down and ran her hands along the bottom of it. She wanted to find a trapdoor or something to lead them back to Panora. When her search revealed it was nothing more than a waste of time, she lifted her eyes to her friends. We need to figure this out quickly. I'm afraid if we don't get back there quickly, something bad is going to happen. I agree, Raven told her. Now you need to stand up. The color of the leaf just changed. The tree bark just became a different color. As Charisma stood, she walked over and looked at the people she loved. The tree bark was slowly closing and turning black. The leaf was evaporating and turning red. Do something, she shouted. What should we do? Boulder asked, watching what was happening. I don't care. Think of something, Charisma demanded. Okay. What would you like us to do? Mountain asked, frustrated. I don't care. Look at them. They're disappearing. And I don't like the colors. And the fact that we're not going to be able to see them. I like it even less that we're all back here on Earth and not in the land of Panora, or Walby for that matter. Now I feel totally lost, almost as if Earth is foreign to me now. Charisma, you need to settle down, Boulder said. Getting all upset and letting your mind spin around all that's going on is going to distract you. If you're distracted, all of us will be too. Charisma looked at him. You're right. But right now, I need all of you to think for me. Yeah, we got that, Dagger said. But right now, in the light of our circumstances, we should go back to your house, Charisma, and try and figure out what we're going to do. Besides, I think once all of us get there, we should eat, and then take showers and try to discover how to get back. Can't believe you're thinking of a shower and food right now, Dagger. Sunburst was angry. Here, people that we love need our help, and that's all you can think about? I don't think he meant it like that, Mountain interrupted. I just think that Dagger meant if we had full stomachs with real food instead of leaves and berries we've been living on, along with nice showers, it would help clear our heads. Then we could sit down and logically plan what we're going to do. I don't know how any of that's going to help, Raven said softly. In my opinion, all of that is just going to take up a lot of time that we don't have. Besides, I'd much rather stay in the swing of things. If we take all the time you're both suggesting, I'd, for one, would feel really guilty. I mean, think about it. People we love need us, and yet both of you want to eat and shower? So typical, selfish. All of them looked at Raven surprised. She said what she said. Usually Raven is the nicest out of them. Look, I didn't mean it to sound selfish. I'm just trying to calm Charisma down. I thought if we had somewhere to go, what could it hurt if we ate to keep up our strength? And every one of us needs a shower, but never mind. I think I'll just stand here with my mouth shut and not offer my opinion anymore. Dagger looked hurt, which was unusual for him. We know you're only trying to help, Charisma blurted, feeling bad. But let's form a circle, hold our jewels, and chant about going back to Panora. If that doesn't work, then I think we should go back to my house, as Dagger said. Then we'll eat and shower and try to figure out a different way to get back and help the others. Okay, Boulder agreed as he held his hands out. As the others gathered around and formed a circle, linked arms, closed their eyes, and chanted. When nothing happened, they tried it again. Again, when they opened their eyes, they were still standing in the warehouse. Maybe we're doing it wrong, Sunburst said. Wrong? Charisma lifted her eyebrow. This is the way we've done it since we learned our magic. Yeah, but maybe it only works this way in the land of Panora and Walby. Maybe we've got to do it differently here on Earth. Raven was serious. Well, how did you do it? How did you and Boulder do it when you came here in the first place? Dagger asked. Charisma looked at Boulder. Well, we looked at the chest, picked up a couple jewels, saw different things in the like the knights and the little men with the curly shoes. Then Charisma picked up the green jewel, and everything became blurry, and before we knew it, we were in the land of Walby. Or wherever we ended up. Boulder shrugged. Okay, so why did you pick the green jewel, Charisma? Mountain asked. For a moment, Charisma felt embarrassed. Then she felt her cheeks turn pink. I picked the green jewel because it reminded me of Boulder's eyes. She stated, looking at her friends for the reaction. When none of them said anything, Charisma was surprised. She knew before all this happened she had said something like that, like she just did. It would have been met with the usual teasing they were all very capable of doing. Okay, Raven spoke, looking at all of them. Maybe you should put the green jewel back in the chest, and you and Boulder should do what you did before? I don't think it'll work, Charisma answered. Why not? Dagger asked. Because the rest of the jewels are gone now. In order to recreate what we did, all the jewels would have to still be in the chest. But they're not. I'm afraid if I let go of the green stone, it will disappear, and then what? Then we'd be in more trouble than we already are, Mountain answered. Exactly, which is why I won't chance it. So what's left then? Raven asked. There's nothing left. I guess now we'll go to my house and do what Dagger suggested. Maybe once we've eaten and showered, our minds won't feel so foggy, Charisma said. All right, let's go. And Boulder walked back over to the door and pointed. When the others looked, they realized that the black tree bark and the red leaf were gone. In their place, they saw an orange path. Charisma ran over to it. Do you think we should take the path? She looked at Boulder. No, personally, I think it's a trick. Who would do that? Charisma asked. Valtron. I wouldn't trust it just yet. Now let's go. I want to stick to our plan. Besides, if we jump on the path, it might lead us directly to him, and even in the land of Elvi. Boulder stared at the orange path, thinking. You're right. Charisma looked at Boulder. I know. If you think about it, we know everybody we love is trapped. I'll bet you this orange path is Valtron's way of getting us back to the land of Wallaby. He wants you, Charisma, and I believe he would stop at nothing to get you. You're right, Charisma nodded. Yeah, and I agree with both of you. Dagger looked first at the orange path, then his friends. Wouldn't surprise me if Valtron set a trap for all of us. Makes sense. You're the one he's after, Charisma. Now that we're back here, he's powerless, unless he can come here. And I seriously doubt that. Why do you doubt it? Charisma wanted to know. Because if he could, he would have already. Valtron doesn't strike me as being patient. He strikes me as someone who stops at nothing to get what he wants, and he doesn't care who he hurts in the process. You mean he's like you were before we ended up in Panora? Sunburst stated and realized too late she had said it aloud. I am so sorry. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did, and you're right. He's like I used to be before this whole thing started. Now I'm different. I know that words can do to someone, and I've changed, and I've tried to change, unfortunately. Valtron doesn't care. He wants Charisma. That's it. Charisma linked arms with him and smiled. I'm proud of you, Dagger. And she kissed his cheek. Now let's go. Wait. Sunburst walked over, kissed Dagger's cheek, and then squeezed his hand. I'm with Charisma. You've done a good job. Thanks. Dagger smiled. Then Raven walked over, smiled, and kissed his lips, shocking everyone as she blushed. You're the best, and you always have been. He smiled shyly at her. Thanks. Raven, I think the same thing about you. As they left the warehouse, Voltron slammed his pixie angel in the head and glared. They've figured it out. They're too smart for their own good. Now it's time for the second plan, and by the time I'm done, they're going to wish they had jumped on the orange path I just offered. Now it's too late. They've made their choice. Now let's go get ready, he growled at his army as he walked away to prepare. Yo, missions. Hope you're doing well, fam. Hey, Jesse. It's good to see you. Jessica Parker. Hope you're doing well. That you did, but one was the hardest one to do. The characters that are behind you, you did, but one was the hardest one to do. I think the hardest one to do was the Bulbasaur. If I had to give you one, only because it was the first one, and there was a learning curve. Hey, what's up, ET? I hope you're doing well, fam. Hello. 17 likes on the stream already. Got 11 people in here listening to the end of the book. We have 3 chapters left to read, chapter 28, 29, and 30. I did not expect me to. I did not expect the children to go back to Earth just like that. Oops, forgot to like 20 likes already. Okay, let's go. 20 likes in the first hour of a reading stream. That's pretty good. I totally forget to like sometimes, which is why I'm glad we have our amazing mods in the community to remind everybody. Chapter 28. Rain looked at her friends, heard the whisper in her ear, and then nervously twisted her hands in front of her. "What is it?" Sparkle asked, concerned. "It's Charisma. I've just gotten word that Valtron has her." "What?" Volcano asked, devastated. "Yeah. Guess she was captured in the land of Walby." Rain felt the tear hit her cheek, then she turned, slammed her hand against the glass, and screamed. "Are you sure that's what you've heard?" Wendy asked, and she walked over and put her arms around Rain's shoulder. "Yes, I know what I heard, and the message was loud and clear." "What did they say?" Hurricane asked. "That Valtron took Charisma along with the other children, and that they were heading back to the land of Alvi." Rain stared out the thick glass, then back to her friends. "I wish there was something we could do." Tornado mumbled, "Yeah, me too. Guess the only thing left to do is try to cast our last spell," Rain said. "But if we do that, once we get to the land of Elvi, we'll be powerless to help the children," Wings answered. "Yeah, you're right," Rain sighed. "I'm just so angry over how things turned out. We all are. Had we known what was going to happen to our children, we would have never granted permission to Grandmother Culver to take them here and teach them of their heritage." Tornado looked over the land. "Wait a minute." She moved closer to the glass to get a better look. "I don't think we're in Panora anymore." As the rest of them gathered around the thick, clear glass, Rain threw her hand over her mouth. "Where are we?" She mumbled the question. "It looks like we're now in the land of Elvi." Sparkle rubbed Rain's back. "I don't know this land anywhere. It's where they took my husband Trod. I'd know this land anywhere. It's where they took my husband Trod when they killed him." "Oh my gosh, you were there?" Rain asked, shocked by what Sparkle just told her. "Yes, they made me watch." "I'm so sorry. That's awful," Wendy offered. "Thanks, and yes, it was awful. But I don't want to think about it right now. What I do want to think about is how we're going to get out of here. This land is covered in wickedly bad magic. Look down there. See all the fires and how strong the wind is blowing? They call this the land of Elvi, and I can see why. This land is virtually no color besides the color of fire. Everything else is black and white. To live here would drive me insane." "Me too. I mean, if you look at it, there's nothing comforting about it. There's fires everywhere, and where there's none, the land is barren, stripped of all color, much like the land of Walby," Rain commented. "Yeah, but it's worse here because of all the fires." When they saw Rain lift her hand, they all felt quiet, watched her concentrate. Then she slowly lowered her hand. "Fiery is being brought here too, and as soon as Watess is found, she'll be joining us." "So he's taken everyone?" Volcano asked, confused. "Yeah, I guess so. But what would he want with Tessa for?" Tornado asked, looking confused. "To strip her of her magic." "But why? Doesn't he have enough dark magic?" "Well, apparently he wants it all. At least that's what they're telling me." Rain looked at them. "All of you realize what this means, right?" One at a time, all the women nodded before Sparkle broke into silence. "I would love to be strong enough to put Valtron out of his misery." Her voice was so full of contempt. "All of us would, Sparkle. Unfortunately, because of what happened with Charisma and her being as stubborn as she is, she made a choice to wander and not obey the rules and laws set forth in Panora. Now, sadly, we're all going to pay dearly for it," Rain said. "I am sorry my daughter caused all this to happen to us." "Don't be ridiculous. If Charisma wouldn't have done it, one of the other ones surely would have." Tornado smiled. "Yeah, but still, my Charisma has never been one to live by the rules." "Yeah, and neither do the rest of the children," Hurricane offered. "Face it. It's always been what one does. They all do. They don't worry about being in trouble until 5 minutes before they come home." "I envy all of you," Sparkle said. "All your children had one another growing up. I wish Petrella would have had the same opportunity." "Well, we do too," Tornado said, "but unfortunately, because of the situation, he couldn't be allowed to have it. But that's the past, and the future is looming fast ahead. Now, ladies, let's get our minds back to the land of Elvi. We're trapped on the darkest land in the world, and I, for one, want to know what we plan on doing about it. There's nothing we can do until Valtrons decides it's time for our glass square to land. Until then, I guess we continue to float helplessly around this grim, dark, forsaken land and hope for the best, Rain said. Yeah, but at least at least when we land, we'll be able to gather more information than we have now, and hopefully somehow we'll be able to locate the others. Hurricane answered. Yeah, hopefully. We all know Valtron isn't nice. Wherever he's hidden the children, will be a place difficult to find. If he's even brought them there, Sparkle said. Oh, he has. If the message Rain received was accurate, Valtron brought them here to watch us squirm. Wendy was adamant when she said it. You're right. He'll want to see us squirm. And we will, I'm sure. We'll give him great joy, Wings said. When Sparkle sighed, they looked at her, noted the sadness in her eyes, the worry lines around her mouth. I wish I knew where Petrella was. We do too, Sparkle, Rain said. I don't know what's worse, knowing that your child was captured by the darkest magic in all the land, or not knowing anything at all. Although at this point, I think I'd be thankful that he hasn't been captured with the rest. Maybe he has been, and we don't know it yet. Sparkle looked over at the grim land of Elby. That could be, but I'm pretty sure I would have seen him with the rest, Wings answered. As Sparkle nodded, Rain felt compassion for her. She knew it was difficult either way. Even though she knew where Charisma and the other 5 children were, it didn't make it any easier than not knowing at all. Rain turned, stared over the grim, bleak land of Elvie, and wondered if Petrella was all right, how the other 6 children were doing, and then she wondered if any of them would survive the dark peril which lay ahead. As the 6 children walked down the street to Charisma's house, she stopped in front of it, stared at her friends, and then back at her house. Now her house looked strange to her, and so did everything else on Earth. When she turned once again to glance at her friend, she looked worried. What is it? Boulder asked her. Wonder if my dad's home or if he's at work. Charisma laughed, but it sounded forced. I don't even know what day it is. None of us do, so I guess there's only one way to find out, Raven said as the 6 of them walked up to the door. Charisma found the spare key, unlocked the front door, and all of them went in. The house was quiet, and as Charisma walked through it, they all noticed the dining room. The chairs were toppled over, and burnt white candles littered the table. She looked at her friends, but none of them spoke as she continued inspecting the house. She noticed her parents' bedroom door was partially open. As she walked down the hall towards it, she peeked into the room and saw her dad encased in a block of ice on the bed. The room was deathly cold, and as Charisma rubbed her arm, she went over to the bed and stared at her dad through the ice. For a moment, she felt like crying, but she knew right now she had to be strong. Do you think he's alive? She whispered. Yes, at least I do, Dagger answered. Why do you think he's in ice? Charisma dragged her eyes away from her dad to look at her friends. I don't know. Boulder shook his head. Me neither, Sunburst said. Yeah, this is really weird, Mountain stated. I know, Charisma whispered, still rubbing her arms. Do you think we should do something? No, Raven shook her head. But why? Charisma was startled. Because I wouldn't do anything until we know what's going on. Now let's go back down to the kitchen, get some food. Since there are 3 bedrooms, let's start the showers, then we'll all feel better. And after that, we'll talk about what to do. Sounds like a good idea, Dagger answered. Now, while everyone goes to the kitchen, I'm jumping in the shower. I feel nasty, and it's been days since I've had an earthly shower. And then I'll eat. Yeah, I call second bathroom. And I'll take the last, Mountain said. Okay, while you're all in the shower, I'll go find something for all of us to eat. Charisma turned, walked out of the room, down to the kitchen, and then started making food. Do you think we'll get back? Boulder asked as he helped her with the sandwiches. I hope so. Can't stand even being here. I know bad things happened in Panora, and here I sit, on Earth, getting ready to stuff myself with food and then take a nice long shower. Talk about feeling guilty. Well, don't. Raven scolded gently. We've all been through a lot, and obviously someone wanted us back on Earth. Funny thing is, I haven't figured out whom yet. I don't know that we'll ever know, Charisma sighed. Oh, I think we will, which is why, even on Earth, we have to be careful. Boulder was serious. You don't think those people and creatures will come here, do you? Charisma looked at Boulder. They could. I wouldn't put anything past them. Me neither, Raven agreed. When the three finished making sandwiches, they took a shower, and less than an hour later, all of them felt better. Now what? Charisma asked them from the sofa where she was sitting. Now, we need to figure out how to get back, Raven answered. I know. What's bothering me is the dining room. I mean, there are burnt white candles on the table, and all the chairs are tipped over. What do you think it means? Charisma looked at all of them. Boulder shrugged. Could mean anything. What we need to do is find out if your mom wrote anything down about the land of Panora. If she did, that would be helpful. Yeah, right. Like she would, Dagger blurted. Yeah, for real. I don't think she would have, because if my dad found it, true. But if we don't know, if he knows about Panora or not. Yeah, but still, if he was a part of that world, I think he would have arrived like my mom did. Charisma nodded as if agreeing with herself. Not necessarily, Raven said. I mean, we all know our mothers are in Panora, and none of our fathers. She stood, then paced the living room before she snapped her fingers and looked at them. I think we should go to Boulder's house. It's right around the block. For what? Boulder asked. To see where your dad is. If he's encased in ice, then we know our mothers more than likely left them that way when they vanished to the land of Panora. But why would they do that to them? Charisma asked. Who knows? That's what we'll find out eventually. Now let's go. Raven started walking over to the door. She's got a point what she said. At least if Boulder's dad is the same way, we'll know somehow connected to what's going on. Dagger stated. As the others agreed, they walked the short distance to Boulder's house, and when they entered, Boulder went directly to his parents' room. Lying on the bed, encased in ice, was his father. See, I told you, Raven smiled. Yeah, you did. Now what does it mean? Boulder asked. I don't know. This whole thing is too strange for me to figure out, Charisma moaned. Well, let's get back to your house, Charisma, and try and figure it out, Mountain said as he led the way. When Fiery was led to the land of Alvi, she closed her eyes against the pallor of it. She knew what Valtron was capable of doing, and she was helpless to stop it. As she was dropped suddenly, it jarred her entire body. Then she heard the dark, sinister laughter. So we meet again. Valtron's voice boomed loudly in the darkness of the room. Yes, Valtron, we do, Fiery answered. Now why don't you tell me why I'm here? Valtron laughed again. No! Why don't you tell me where Charisma is? I don't know, Fiery sighed. You're lying to me. You know where she is. No, I really don't. Well then, perhaps I shall tell you where she's at. Fiery waited in the darkness for him to speak. She's back on that dreadful planet she came from. Now I want to know who put her there. Valtron yelled. I don't know, Fiery answered as a slight smile touched the corner of her mouth. She was secretly pleased that Charisma had slipped back through the portal and wasn't in this dreadful land. Well, I see you're not cooperating. So I'll have my guard take you to your quarters. You'll forgive me if I don't feed you first. He laughed. Oh, and you'll forgive me if the accommodations are less than what you're comfortable with. Fiery stood still and didn't answer. Do you want to say anything to make me change my mind before I decide your fate? He asked her snidely. No, Fiery answered. Very well, have it your way. And then he called Mumu his guard to take her to the quarters. When that was done, take her to her quarter. When that is done, bring me the rest of them so I can decide what's going to be done. Very well, my king. Mumu bowed, then lifted his finger, and Fiery felt her feet leave the ground as Mumu took her to her quarters. As Rain and the others waited, they felt a chill slide over their bodies, and each one of them shuddered. He's coming, Rain whispered. How do you know? Hurricane asked. Because I can feel him. So can you, Rain answered. When they heard the snap of glass, they felt the entire box lift and then fall hard to the floor. I'm sorry. I really must teach my men how to land better. Valtron laughed as his red eyes glowed with hatred. When none of the women said anything, he glared at them. Which of you is responsible for Charisma going back to Earth? He blurted paste and then threw a fireball at them, which melted the box they had been kept in. When none of the women answered, he repeated the question, and still no one answered. I can see you're all as cooperative as your queen. It's a shame, really. The only thing I'm asking is who's responsible, that's all. When all of them stared at him, they watched him change into a handsome young man. His scraggly gray hair turned black and curly, and touched his shoulders. His once red eyes suddenly startling blue. Well, apparently none of you ladies are going to tell me what I want to know about charisma, so I guess I'll just go to Earth and find out what happened for myself, he laughed. What, don't you ladies like the way I look? Valtron asked. Well, that's a shame then. I'm sure once I find charisma, she'll appreciate it. After all, she's young, beautiful, and soon she and I will start our courtship. Then once 4 years past, we shall marry. We will rule the world as it should be ruled. Then our children will take over, and everything I've ever wanted, shall be mine. She'll never let that happen, Rain shouted at him. You make me sick. Finally, someone's spoken? Valtron laughed again. What's wrong, Mom? Don't you want to see your little girl married off? What, I'm not good enough for her? No, Rain told him harshly. Well, I don't really care what you think, Valtron laughed. Now, I'd love to stay and chat, but I really must go. Thanks for the magic, by the way. What are you talking about? Sparkle finally asked. Oh, Sparkle, is it really you? Well, I haven't seen you since your husband was killed, he laughed. Such a shame. But to answer your question, I'm talking about how I managed to steal all of your power and none of you even realized it. Thanks for not using that one last spell before you entered the land of Elvie. It gave me more power. Sorry, ladies, you really didn't think I'd let you enter with your magic, did you? He stared at them. Well, if you did, you've underestimated me. I've stripped all of you from your power, and I took everything from your queen, too. All of them remained silent because none of them knew what to do. If what he was saying was true, they were all powerless against him. Well, I shall leave now. Wish me luck on my journey. Tell me, is Earth as beautiful as the land of Elvie, or is it dreadful and colorful as Penora? He laughed again. Well, since none of you feel like talking, I've got something to do. Valtron lifted his hand, and the women watched him disappear. When they felt their feet leave the floor, they floated roughly to the dungeon, where they were separated. And when the big steel bar slammed closed, the women knew they were in serious trouble. Ernie! It's good to see you, Ernie. 2 chapters left, and I feel like everybody is in trouble right now. But who do you think sent them back to Earth? It could have only been one person, right? Either Grandmother Culver or great-grandmother. Oh, but they can't intervene. She found the portal. Maybe they'll pull a fast one and it's like it was Dag or something. I don't know. I'm very, very curious, and I hope we find out. But I don't know. That's a lot of story to cover in 2 chapters. Like we're on page 304, and the last page is on 324. There's 20 pages left. And I love that all of you are here for it. Oh, Auntie Jessie, that's cute. Appreciate you all. 21 likes, 8 ghosty readers ready to finish this epic story. Chapter 29. Before Valtron left the land of Elvie, he had one more stop to make. This one was to Watessa. As he stood before her, he laughed. You're useless, and I'm glad you're not in power anymore. Thank you so much for your magic. Now I've got things to do. He stared at her. If you'll excuse me, I'll have my guard show you to your quarters. As Watessa stared, she was hoping one of these imbeciles from the land of Walby would be brave enough to come here and rescue her. Before she was captured, she used her last bit of magic to let her people know what happened. When she felt her body leave the floor, she floated roughly to her quarters. It was a tiny room with a big steel door. As the door slammed, she knew her world was finished, and she knew that it was only a matter of time before Valtron made all of them into his workers. When she looked at the walls of her room, she realized it was only big enough for her to sit. If she tried to move, she wouldn't be able to. Finally, she felt a tickle in her eye, and she closed it and fell fast asleep. As Rain and the rest of the women sat in the dungeon, none of them spoke. They were all lost in their own thoughts of what Valtron had told them. As Rain stood, she paced and wondered if Charisma was back on Earth, or if she was, Rain hoped she would still be careful. Right now, there was nothing Rain could do to help warn her daughter. Despite the fact that Charisma was stubborn, she knew her daughter would be no match for the mighty Voltron. Now, not now that they had all stolen their magic, plus the magic of their queen. As she thought about her daughter, she knew how Charisma was. She was definitely street smart, and after her time spent in Panora, Rain hoped that she had become worldly smart as well. The worst part about the whole thing was Rain knew that Charisma and all the children were on their own. She ran a hand through her hair when she realized that if Charisma were on Earth, maybe her magic would fail her. As she sat down on the floor, she felt the tingle in her eyes, and she knew a spell had been cast over all of them, and soon she was sleeping. As Camille flew over the land of Walby, she halted when she received the message. "There's news from Grandmother Culver," Camille said. "I didn't think she was allowed to do that since we're trapped in the land of Walby," Petrello blurted as they all stopped. "She isn't, as long as all is well." Camille looked at him. "What happened?" Petrello asked as his heart leaped into his chest. "The news is very bad," Camille answered, listening. "What is it?" Petrello demanded. Camille held up her hand to silence him, and Petrello watched the grim expression on her face. As he looked at Redela and Zuela, he noted the worry in their eyes as well. Finally, Camille looked at them. "The news coming in speaks of many captures." "Who's been captured?" Petrello cut her off. If you'll be hushed for longer than 1 second, I will tell you." Camille glared at him. "Now quit interrupting." Petrello nodded and then waited. "As I was saying, the news is bad. The land of Elvi has captured Fiery." "When?" Zuela asked. "I'm not finished yet," Camille said sternly. "I'm sorry. Valtron has also captured Rain, Hurricane, Windy, Tornado, Volcano, Sparkle, and Wings. He's also captured Watessa." "Where are they, and what can we do?" Petrello asked impatiently. "They're being held in the land of Walby." Wow. I'm sorry, y'all. That was autopilot. "They are being held in the dark land of Elvi." "What about Charisma and the rest of them?" Petrello asked. "It is said that the children were transported through a portal back to the planet Earth." Camille looked at them. "That's good news, at least." Petrello smiled. "No, Petrello, it isn't. You see, Grandmother Culver just informed me that Valtron also knows the whereabouts of Charisma and the other children, and now he's on his way to Earth." "What?" Petrello looked at her upset. What do you mean? How can he be allowed to enter Earth? I thought it was against the rules and laws governing the lands." "It is." Camille looked at him. "But Valtron is much too powerful now to be stopped. He's stolen everyone's magic, including more dark magic from Otessa. I'm sorry to report he's unstoppable." "No, he's not." Petrello glared at her. "I can't believe you just said that. The good people of the land of Panora still have the 4 of us. And there's got to be something we can do." Petrello said, "Petrello, there is nothing. Why, even Grandmother Culver just told me that." "I don't care. If there's a way to get back to Earth, I'm demanding one of you tell me how to do it." Petrello's voice was full of emotion. "You won't be allowed to slip through the portal. Valtron is too powerful, and he's made sure no one gets in or out," Camille said sadly. "Fine. Then we travel to the land of Elvi and fight there." "We can't, Petrello. The land is much too powerful." Camille looked at him. "We're just as upset as you, but there's nothing we can do but wait for the outcome." "That's not fair. I refuse to wait and do nothing. If that's what the 3 of you choose to do, then so be it." "Listen, Petrello, you must understand the power of magic," Redela said. "Yeah, I do. I also know Chesquat is traveling with the good people of Venduza. When will they arrive?" Camille looked at the ground, then back at him. "They won't be. They too have been captured." Oh, great, just great. Petrello shoved his hands in his pockets. Petrello, you must do as we say, and continue to wait this out with us. Camille instructed him, and when the four of them heard the clap of thunder, they turned their eye towards the sky. The war in the clouds will take place within 3 weeks, Zoella said. How do you know? Petrello asked. Because that's the news I just received. Who will the war involve? The Culvers and the Elven Knights. But such a war has never taken place in all the years I've lived here, so why now? Petrello asked. To regain power back over the lands, Zoella informed him. So what do we do right now? Petrello was so mad and impatient he couldn't stand it a second longer. I've already told you, we wait for news and instructions. Camille was agitated with him. No. Petrello lifted his hand, and before any of them could stop him, he was gone. As Charisma heard the knock at the front door, she paused. Who do you think it is? Boulder asked cautiously. I don't know. Well, I think we should answer it, Mountain said, walking over. He looked out the people. It's Elise. Really? Charisma asked excitedly. Yeah, really, Mountain smiled. Should we let her in for a minute? No, Dagger answered. Why not? Raven was surprised. Elise was another one of their good friends. Do you really want her involved with what's going on? Dagger stared at all of them. No. What harm will it do to say hi? Charisma shrugged. A lot. She's going to want to come in, then she's going to want the latest gossip, and then she'll ask all of us where we've been, and what are we going to say? Just open the door, Charisma told him. No, Dagger said. Fine. Charisma breezed by him, pulled open the door, and then smiled at her friend. Elise was pretty. Her light brown skin and shoulder-length hair, black, silky, made her green eyes sparkle. Thank goodness you're finally home. I've been worried, you know. She hugged Charisma. Hi. She greeted the rest of her friends. As she hugged them, she noticed the worry in their eyes and sadness in their face. Is this a bad time? No, don't be silly. There's never a bad time when it comes to seeing a friend. Charisma grabbed her hand and then led her to the living room. As Elise sat down, she felt uncomfortable. Look, if I'm imposing, I could come back later. No, you're not imposing, but we do have a lot of things to get done, Dagger blurted. Yeah, we do. Do you want me to leave? Elise asked. Well, it's not that we want you to leave. It's just that we're in the middle of something, and we really need to take care of it. Dagger's voice was rushed as he stared at Elise, then his friends. Well, okay. Elise stood. Nonsense. Sit back down, Sunburst said. Now, how are you, Elise? As Elise stood, she watched all of her friends looking at each other and knew she had barged in on something important. She had never had the bond the six of them shared, and a part of her envied it. Look, obviously you're all busy. How about if I leave and come back later? No, I want you to stay. I want your opinion on something. Okay, Elise hesitated. What? Well, what I'm going to tell you is top secret. You can't tell anyone. Charisma looked at her seriously. I won't, Elise said, still feeling uncomfortable because they were all behaving strangely. Good. Now sit down. This could take a while. As Charisma stared at her friends, they knew she was going to tell Elise everything that had happened to her. And they let her. When she was finally finished, they all watched Elise. First, she squirmed, then she stared at them. Oh my goodness, I can't believe what you've told me. And I don't know what to do to help. Actually, Elise, I told you everything because I wanted an outsider's opinion that I trusted. Okay, Elise twisted her hands. What do you want me to say? Well, for starters, you could tell us what we should do. Charisma smiled. Yeah, that would be good because right now all of us are confused and maybe you could help us figure it out, Sunburst said. Elise stood. First of all, I would search your mother's things to find out if she kept a diary or anything talking about the land you mentioned. Penora? Raven asked. Yeah, I guess. Look, Elise, we all know how this sounds, but you've got to believe what we told you, Mountain stated. I do, but it's not what I was expecting. Look, if I told all of you a story like this one Kimmy just told me, well, you'd all think I was losing it. She tried to smile but couldn't pull it off. Besides, if you ask me, it's all a little scary. I mean, you're talking about magic in completely different worlds. Then the one we live in? So I'm sorry if I seem a little nervous. Like I said, I wasn't expecting what Kimmy just told me. We understand, but anyway, on to what you were saying. Mountain urged her to stay on track. Well, like I said, I think we should search your mother's rooms. Look for anything that she might have written on the land you've been to. Elise smiled at Charisma. Okay. Raven nodded for her to continue. Then I'd pay attention to everything happening around here. While you're on Earth, I wouldn't go anywhere or do anything. I mean, you don't know what the Dark Lord is capable of doing. True, Charisma smiled. Oh, by the way, he's not a lord, he's a king. Do you think he might come here? Charisma asked all of them. He could. If you plan to steal everyone's magic as you told me, then I say there's a good possibility that he'll try. You did tell me he wants you, right, Kimmy? Elise asked. Yes, she smiled. What? I'm sorry, I'm used to my given name in the land of Panora now. What? Elise was confused. Yeah, we've all been given names from the land of Panora, Dagger said. Elise held her hand up. Okay, tell me what they are. Well, mine's Charisma. They call me Boulder, Bobby smiled. Dagger, Dave tipped his head and watched her smile. I'm Mountain, Manning sounded older than he was. My given name is Sunburst. Isn't that a pretty name? She giggled. Elise nodded. Mine's Raven. Okay, I'll try to remember, but I'm not guaranteeing it. Now, let's go and see what kind of notes your mother's kept in her room, Elise said. When they all stood, they followed Charisma up the stairs toward the bedroom in search of answers. And now we're on the last chapter. Yo, EDF, I hope you're doing well, fam. Anime Girl, how are you? Adam Jones, how's it going? It is always good to see everybody. We're just finishing up Mama Ghost's book. Hi, cousins. Mom's letting me use her tablet to watch Uncle Ghosty read, and I certainly appreciate you being here, Una. And I hope your mother's having all kinds of good luck over on the Hollow Hunters. I hope you're enjoying the story. I just don't know how they're going to wrap up everything in one little chapter. Like, we're talking 14 pages. So let me get another drink real quick, and then we will get into our last chapter of the book and my mom's world that she created, all of these people. I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of her for it. But let me get one more drink, and then we'll finish it. 300 pages. And then I was saying earlier that I don't know if anybody's familiar with John Carter of Mars, and not the movie, but the books by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Books are better, always better. But I thought we could take a break from the Land of Oz. We will go back to Oz, though, and finish it up. But probably going to put a poll tonight on the page and see if we want to go back to Oz or if we want to go to Mars. Either way, I'm here for it. I've seen the movie. Oh, no. Well, don't have that movie in mind when we read the books. Mars for the win. Excellent. She had so much talent, created such a beautiful world within her story. She really did. She created a lot of characters, too. And I say this as both a reader and a fan of this entire book. I feel like the book is too small for as many characters as are involved. And I think like backstories on everybody is kind of necessary. Which is why I've got many, many ideas. And of course, with her permission, um, I would like to expand this universe a little bit. But it all depends on how the book ends, because if she ended it on that ending, then I'm gonna let it be. So to be continued. Time in here next week at the same ghosty time, same ghosty channel. Exactly. I hope it's not like a to be continued, because then I would have questions why she never wrote the book. Tune in next time. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you all. Let's finish up. Petrello landed on Earth, but he didn't know how he managed to get there, and he had no idea where he was. As he looked around, he read a strange sign and thought it said Taco Bell? Whatever that meant. He looked around, he noticed many people standing in line at a counter, and then he noticed how everyone in line was going up to the counter to talk to the person at the other side, and Petrello realized the whole situation was too busy for him. When he saw other people sitting around funny-looking things, he realized they were eating strange-looking food. Finally, he walked up to a group of kids. "Excuse me, could you tell me the location I'm at?" he asked. One of the kids smirked. "Yeah? You're at Taco Bell?" "What's Taco Bell?" Petrello asked. "You're playing with us, right?" One of the kids laughed. "What does playing with you mean?" Petrello was completely lost. "Listen, weirdo. Why don't you go bother someone else before we tell the manager?" Another kid said. "What's a manager? Is that like a king or queen?" "Oh my gosh, I've heard everything now." One of the kids glared at him. "Go away." Petrello shook his head, saw the doors leading out of Taco Bell, and left. As he started walking, he pictured Charisma in his head, held out his hand, and watched her photo slide out of his fingertips. He then turned around, marched back into Taco Bell, and found the group of kids again. "Has anyone seen her?" Petrello asked, holding up the picture of Charisma. "Hey, I know her," someone from another table blurted. "You do?" "Yeah, I do." "Do you know where I may find her?" Who are you?" the teenager asked. "A friend." Petrello was glad he had paid attention when the human child talked. If you're a friend, I shouldn't have to tell you where to find her." Teenager eyed him critically. That's true, but I'm a newer friend of hers, and I was wondering if you could tell me where she lives." "What? No way, weirdo. Get lost." "I'm already lost," Petrello said, making him laugh. "Whatever, I'm not going to tell you where she is." Teenager eyed him before he stood. As Petrello watched him leave Taco Bell, he followed, cast a spell on the guy outside in the parking lot, and turned him into a toad, picked him up, and stared at him. "Tell me where Charisma is, and I'll change you back into a rude human that you are." "Who are you?" the toad croaked. "I told you, a friend." "Do you have a name?" the toad asked. "Petrello." "What?" Petrello picked up the toad and shook it hard. "You heard me. My name's Petrello. Now you either take me to where Charisma lives or I'll toss you into traffic." "Her name's Kimmy. Fine, whatever you say. Are you going to take me to her house?" he asked, holding his arm out towards the rushing traffic. "Yeah, just don't drop me." "I won't. Now tell me which way to go." When Petrello finally reached Charisma's house, he put the toad in his pocket and passed through the front door. When he didn't see anything, he floated up the steps and heard the familiar voices coming out of the strange rooms. He floated over and smiled. "I'm so glad I found all of you," Petrello blurted. "Oh my gosh, thank goodness you're here." Charisma ran to him and gave him a hug. "I am too," Petrello said, pulling the toad out of his pocket. What should I do with it?" "With what? The toad?" Dagger asked. "Well, he was a human until he wouldn't tell me how to find you, Charisma. Then I had no choice but to turn him into a toad." When they all laughed, it felt good. "Well, who is it, and where did you find him?" "I found him in a place called Taco Bell, and for the life of me, I can't honestly say it was the strangest place I've ever seen." Everyone laughed again, and then Charisma looked at Petrello. "Yeah, but that doesn't tell me who the toad is." Petrello shrugged. "Some guy who was in Taco Bell claimed to know you, Charisma." "I don't understand how he would know that you were looking for me." Because I printed a picture of you like this." Petrello concentrated and held out his hand, and everyone watched a picture of Charisma shot out of his fingertips. Petrello grabbed the picture and handed it to Charisma. I showed your picture to a group of teenagers at Taco Bell, and none of them knew who you were. But he jiggled the toad in his hand. He did. And so I asked him where you lived, and he told me get lost. So I followed him outside when he left. I asked him again if I could find you, and he refused to tell me, so I turned him into a toad and held him into oncoming traffic until he finally gave in and led me here. Oh, no, Petrello. How am I going to explain that to the toad? What do you mean? What she means is what is she supposed to tell the toad? People on Earth don't perform magic like that unless you're a magician. So she wants to know how she's going to explain to the toad what happened, Boulder said. Oh, she won't have to. I'll clear his memory of this, and he won't remember anything. Ah, well, in that case, just take him outside and release him, Charisma said. When he stared at her, she shrugged. What? Are you, are you all going to come with me? Yeah, sure. I'll go. Dagger looked at him. Keep searching. As he walked out of the room with Petrello, none of them saw the black shadow, which landed right outside the window watching them. When they heard the laughter fill the room, all of them stopped, looked around, and when they saw nothing, they continued their search. As Valtron watched them, he smiled, and knew in just a little while he would confront them. First, he had something else to do. Charisma continued to search, and she felt a cold chill flow through her. So she spun around, looked at the window, but again, she saw nothing. What's wrong? Boulder asked as he noticed the worry around her eyes. Nothing except I feel like we're being watched. Charisma stared at the window. Do you think something's wrong? Yeah. Do you think someone followed us back from Walby? Sunburst asked. I don't know. I wish I knew more about my magic. If I did, I'd know for sure if someone followed us. Charisma looked nervous. Well, if they did, we'll know soon enough. Mountain looked at the window. I've got a feeling that who's ever making you feel this way won't remain in the shadows for long. You're right. So for now, I think all of us need to stay alert. I don't want any surprises, Charisma said. After Petrello changed the toad back into a person, the guy took off running down the street, and Petrello and Dagger laughed. Then Petrello looked around outside, and his eyes stopped on the tree by the side of the house. What is it? Dagger asked him. We've got company. Petrello floated to the door. What do you mean, we've got company? Dagger asked. Just what I said. Someone else, besides me, slipped through the portal. Who? Dagger asked as the two of them climbed the stairs. I don't know yet. The vision isn't clear. How can that be? Dagger asked. I mean, you've had magic for a long time and you're properly trained to use it, so why can't you see who it is? Dagger stopped Petrello right outside the door and waited for him to answer. Look, Dagger, I need to tell everyone at once that I think is going on and who is here from the other side. When Dagger nodded, they entered the room, and Petrello knew right away that Charisma already sensed the presence. We need to talk, Petrello said. Okay. Charisma stopped searching and lifted her eyes to his, and the others did the same. Gather close, Petrello said. And once they gathered, Petrello walked out to the hall, and the others followed. I think someone from the other side managed to get through the portal. I think they're here. Who is it? Charisma asked nervously. I don't know yet. I told Dagger that I can feel whoever it is, but I can't see them. Why not? Sunburst asked. Aren't you one of the powerful ones from both sides of the land? Yes, but that doesn't mean I can see who's here. The only thing I can do is tell you what I think. I agree with you, Petrello. I know someone's here. I felt it when I was in the bedroom, Charisma said, confirming what he was saying. Okay, so explain why you can't see who it is, Dagger demanded. I believe I can't see them because they're more powerful than I am. His words stuck in the cord of fear in all of them. What do you mean? Charisma felt alarmed. Just what I said. Petrello nodded toward the bedroom. Whoever is here, right outside the window. I believe they're in that tree. I felt it too, Charisma answered. When we were searching in the bedroom, I felt a cold chill. Now wait a second, Raven stopped them. If you're not powerful enough to see who's lurking outside, then why can't Charisma see them? She's supposed to hold the highest power of the land. Yeah, Raven, you're right. Unfortunately, though, all of you kept sneaking off instead of proper training, Petrello said. So, can't you teach her what she needs to know? Boulder asked. No. His word hung in the air. Why? Sunburst stomped her foot, then glared at him. I don't understand. I can't teach her because I'm not her guide or her king. Okay, so how do we prepare? Charisma asked. I'm not sure. I guess the best way is to keep searching the room and hopefully you'll find something useful. Petrello lowered his head. Excuse me. I'm a little scared right now. I mean, hello, I don't know what's going on, but if someone followed all of you from the other side, I know, and now they're here, what's going to stop them from trying something on me? I don't have any magic. Elise sounded alarmed. Nothing. Petrello looked at her. Wrong answer, buddy. Elise looked at all of them. What happens if they take me? Then we find you and bring you back. Dagger answered. Yeah, right, okay. You mean like you did with your mothers? Ouch, Dagger answered. Look, Elise, if you want to leave, we'll walk you home, Charisma offered, feeling sorry for her. Not a good idea, Petrello stated. She's been seen with us already. If we walk her home and leave her alone, it won't stop whoever's here from taking her. I'm sorry, Elise, but you'll have to stay with us so we can try and protect you. Stay with you? She asked, surprised. For how long? Until we know it's safe to let you leave, Petrello answered. So how long will it take? A week? A night? A month? What? And she was now hysterical and wished they would have never stopped by Charisma's house. For as long as it takes, Petrello was serious. What? Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Elise stomped her foot much the same way Sunburst did, and Petrello wondered if this was a trait with human females. Well, believe it. You're staying until it's over. Petrello's eyes pierced hers. Fine. She threw her hands in the air. Then we better keep searching and come up with a plan. And all of you better protect me. Oh my goodness, I just want to go home. I'm scared because I don't know what's going on. And I'm not afraid to admit it either. She twisted her hands and looked at her friends. It's okay to be scared. We've all been there. Charisma smiled. Now let's get back to the search. As they re-entered the room, Petrello's eyes rested on the bed. Is that your father, Charisma? He nodded towards the ice Charisma's dad was encased in. Yes. Typical, Petrello commented. What do you mean, typical? What I mean is it's typical for humans to use the frozen in time spell on their spouses when they must leave Earth. What does that mean? Boulder wanted to know. The spell, frozen in time, means that when your father wakes up, it'll still be the exact same day it was when the spell was cast and when he went to sleep. I'm confused, said Raven. Me too, Elise agreed. You see, when Charisma's father wakes up, everything will be the same as it was before the spell was cast on him. He'll never realize that Charisma or her mother ever left. That's why the spell is called Frozen in Time. Petrello suddenly snapped his fingers. Charisma, you need to cast a spell right now to talk to your father. What? How? Concentrate on his thoughts and teleport your mind to join his. If it works, then ask your father if your mother has a journal and where she keeps it. If anyone knows, he should. Now, this is what we need to do. Gather in a circle, link your hands, but first we need to light a white candle. Petrello looked around the room. There's some in the dining room. I'll go get them, Charisma offered. I'll go with you, Boulder said. After the candle was lit, Petrella and the others formed a circle, linked hands, and Charisma focused on her dad. When she felt the vibration, she knew the spell had worked and asked her father the first question. Does Mom keep a journal? Yes, he answered. Where does she keep it? Charisma asked, smiling at her father. Oh, she tucks it between the mattresses of the bed. Her father smiled handsomely. Between the mattresses. Charisma was a little surprised. Yeah, that's right. Your mother's smart. Her father laughed. Thanks, Dad. Oh, wait a second. You do mean the mattress on yours and Mom's bed, right? Yes, that's what I mean. At least that's where she used to keep them. If you don't find them there, try the attic. Dad, you said them. Does Mom have more than one diary? Yes, Kenny, she has several. He smiled again. Your mother wrote every night. Thanks, Dad. Charisma kissed his cheek and pulled her mind away from her dad's, opened her eyes, and looked at her friends. My mom keeps her diaries between the mattresses on the bed. They surrounded the bed, lifted the mattresses, and saw several journals and a glittering purple jewel. Charisma reached over, picked it up. When she felt another vibration rush through her body, she gasped, quickly grabbed all the journals and linked arms. Something is happening. Immediately, the journals were collected, and soon each of them were holding one, including Charisma. Then they linked arms, and soon all of them felt the vibration shake them. When they saw their mothers trapped in the dungeon of Elvi, Charisma realized all of them were sleeping, and knew a spell had been cast upon them. Then the picture of their mothers disappeared, and they saw their queen, Fiery. She was suspended over one of many fires in the land of Elvi. When they heard the laughter, it was followed by a deep, unfriendly voice. Charisma, I've been waiting for you. Valtron's voice filled the room, sounding pleased. Unfortunately, you're too quick for me, and now time's been delayed. It was never supposed to end like this. So let's just refer to what just happened as a temporary pause, he whispered. Now the war shall not come to pass yet. There's more to do because you unruly, rude humans are too smart. You found the purple stone, and now everything. Valtron's voice faded fast, but was replaced by a familiar sound of Grandmother Culver's. Listen, children. What that menace was trying to say is that Charisma managed to pause time in our world. In your hands, my child, you hold one of the 14 jewels that were once part of Culver's treasure. Because you found the first jewel, everything as we know it is paused in time, including what's going on with everyone trapped in the land of Albi. Now all of you must travel forth and find the 13 others. Excuse me, Grandmother, I'm confused, Charisma whispered. What do you mean everything paused? Just what I said, my child. Now, I need all of you to pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. But wait, I'm still confused. I don't understand what you mean about pausing time. Listen, Charisma, you found the purple jewel, and now time as we know it is paused. Always remember, as long as you hold it tightly to the purple jewel, time shall forever continue to be still. What does that mean? Does it mean everything turns back to the way it used to be? She desperately wanted to know. No, child. It means the journey for Culver's treasure has just begun. Her grandmother sighed. Now here, the final diary that your mother gave you when this whole thing started. Grandmother Culver handed Charisma the book. You see, when your mother gave you the diary, everything happened so fast after that. You left the diary at Fiery's dwelling. Now, my children, on your journey, take time to read the journals. She smiled. Right now, the journey begins. It's up to all of you to go forth and find the rest of the missing jewels. Children, you need 13 jewels to complete the circle of Culver's treasure, and only then will all the secrets of your life be revealed. Remember, when this comes to pass, the great war of the lands will ensue. I think I know what you're saying, but I thought we were supposed to be training for the great war, Charisma asked, rubbing her arms. Oh, you were, until all of you stopped listening and did whatever appealed to you. Then what happened? It changed everything. But you've done well, Charisma, Boulder, Dagger, Raven, Sunburst, and Mountain. Grandmother Culver smiled again. As far as Elise is concerned, she is yet another link needed on this journey. Petrello is too. Now all the pieces are where they should be. Go forth on your journey. So I don't get to go home? Elise sounded upset. No, my child, but you do need to know that your given name in the land of Penora is Excite. Your mother's earth name is Natalie. Her given name is Nature. Excite, you were born in the town of Elcrow, and now I give you your earrings. Everyone watched as the earrings materialized out of nowhere and appeared right in front of Elise. The earrings were big and displayed the 4 seasons of nature, plus the many faces of emotion. Put them in your ears, my child. Wear them proudly. Listen loudly. Do not let others lead you astray. You will do well in your journey on your way. I can't believe I'm not going home, she whined, then felt the earrings on her ears. Believe it, you are needed here, Grandmother Culver told her a bit sternly. Then why was I left on Earth? Why didn't I leave with the others? Because all pieces of the universe come together when it's time, and not a moment before. When all the children fell quiet, Grandmother Culver smiled. Now, on with the rest of the legend. Are you ready? Grandmother Culver watched the children nod. Very well. Then I shall continue, together, the 8 of you, shall continue your journey, finding the jewels of Culver's treasure. But remember along the way to write the chapters to fill your very own journals, for someday your children will need them to find their own heritage, and it is up to all of you to lead them correctly. Now I bid you so long until our paths cross again. Wait, Charisma shouted, sounding panicked. Will we ever see any of you again? Charisma's eyes were filled with tears. Only after the first 5 jewels are found, then yes, you shall. The adventures all of you write along the way would simply be called the unspoken secrets of the missing jewels. Now go forth and stand united at all times and reclaim your heritage. Until we meet again, remember who you are, remember what you've learned, and how much you've grown. All the good people in the land of Panora are proud of each of you. May the queen in the land and all the higher powers of Panora guide you as you take flight on your own search for the treasure, which shall connect all the worlds together through the jewels you shall discover. Remember, Charisma, you are the highest power, and the survival of Panora, and the ones you love largely rests on how successful your journey is. Now be gone, and may you never forget the legend of Culver's treasure. When Grandmother Culver's voice began to fade, Charisma and her friends felt the tears of sadness in their faces. When each felt the sudden vibrations, it was much stronger than anything they've ever felt. And when each of them felt their feet leave the floor, they each floated to the open window. The white candle blew out, and all 8 of them were shot through the sky like yellow shooting stars in search of the next jewel. The next chapter, the next world, which they hoped would bring them much closer to learning the truth about who they really were. And perhaps somewhere out there, they would find the answers to all the questions they had, not only about their lives, but also about all the unspoken secrets. The end. So it seems that this is very open for additional entries. And it's really funny because when I was little, I think I'm going to do some research on this, but I think my mother was writing a book called Culver's Treasure. I'm going to have to see if I can find it, because if she was writing the second installment about the journey of these 8, which the first thing I would do if I were to continue this is I would split them up and follow 3 different groups of them as they traveled through to find all 13 jewels. 13 jewels of Culver's treasure. What's up, Boyd? It's good to see you. Yeah, I'm really proud of her for that story. I was really wanting to read the Epic War, but maybe we will. Maybe we will. But genuinely, would like to know what all of you thought of it. I know that you've given me feedback along the way. But just overall, I think that it was a very good book. I think it was a very good book. Great story. Thanks, Uncle Brangus. I appreciate that. I know Mama Ghost, she wrote many things, and this one was published, but she has a lot that weren't, that I believe had the ability to be. So I'm gonna have to talk to my stepfather Jimmy and see if he has any records of it. So I was working on your card today, Rafa. Kind of really stoked with how it's turning out. But that's the book, y'all. And I believe that's going to be where we're going to call it for tonight. Of course, we read one chapter last time, so it kind of shortened the stream this time. Absolutely. I knew that she would have been absolutely thrilled to see your guys' reaction. She was really proud of the book. Such an incredible story. Yeah, so much world building. I believe that this could be turned into, like, this one book could have easily been like a 3-book series. It is not. She self-published it and only had a few physical copies. It was an ebook for a long time, and I've tried to find it. But I promise you that if I ever do find it, I will happily share it with all of you. I know somebody was asking for a physical copy of the book. And what's really, really sad is I can't find my physical copy of the book. When I was in Michigan, I was in my mom's house, and I saw this book sitting on the table, and I picked it up, and I was like, "Oh my God, can I bring it back to read to the community?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I opened it up, and the first thing that I read was that it was to my brother Devin. So this is actually my brother's Devin book. So I actually have to give this back when I go back to Michigan. I can't keep this book. Yeah, absolutely. Sleep well, Yuna. Still looking for a physical copy of that book, to be honest. Yep, Unspoken Secrets. It was from Outskirts Press. It was the publishing company. So I will do some more. I will do some more digging and see if I can find a copy, whether it be an ebook or not. But honestly, I'm gonna try and locate Culver's treasure, and if I can find it, I'll see what direction she was going. But we can easily, as a community, write this book, Finding 13 Culver's Treasure, and we'll put that on the back burner for now. But I'm gonna I'm gonna try and locate it. There's a book called Culver's Cove. Ooh, that's another really good book. Culver's Travel. I haven't read that book in a long time. By A.D.M. Glover. Okay. My mom wrote under her pen name, which she was in the chat. Um, LA Thunder was her pen name. Great book. Appreciate you, Ernie. And yeah, I appreciate all of you coming back and wanting to hear more of story. I think we're going to go to Mars starting next week. I did pick up all the John Carter of Mars books, and they're books that I haven't read in their entirety. I read the first one, but I haven't read the series, so we're going to get into that. But I'm going to put a poll up on the page tonight because we do still have like 4 or 5 Oz books to get through also. And I do want to go back to Oz eventually. But I figured Mars is going to be a nice little breather. Says it's about an emerald, time travel, and secrets. I'm going to look it up. I'm Yuna. Mommy's still in Hollow. Yeah. Let's go to Mars. You're all right, Uncle Brangus. Let's go to Mars. And I'm really excited for it. Plus, Edgar Rice Burroughs is one of the better. Just popping in for I really appreciate you, Cat Morrison. We were just wrapping up, actually. I was setting up a raid target. I don't know who's still on right now. But let's take a peek. I know the Hollow Hunters are still on. Got Vicariously, got Jay's Corner, got Harjay, got the Hunters, got Broly Poles. I'm off to bed. Have a great night, Mad Gooch. And anybody else that is deciding to raid your pillow instead of raiding the next stream, which is totally fine as well. I hope that you all have a beautiful rest of your night. We haven't raided Jay's in a while. Let's go see our buddy Jay's Corner TCG. Thanks for the stories, Kev. Absolutely. Love all of you. Always remember, y'all, to go out and get everything that you set out to get. And don't let anything stop you. But it takes $0 to be a good person. So remember, always do it through peace, love, and Pokemon. And thank you all for believing in ghosts. Super appreciate you. We're going to go to Jay's Corner TCG. Just throwing that out there. But hope that you all have a beautiful rest of your night. I'm going to get some food and hang out there for a second. So I will see you all over there. But peace, love, and Pokemon, y'all. Have a great night.